Judge, is that you?
We'll wait another 2 minutes, see if we can get more individuals on board. This is it right now, for now, right now.
A lot of people watch the live stream.
Chair, I'm gonna cut out about 9:30 because I have the last hearing on one of my bills. So,
Okay, Ken.
okay. I didn't want to miss Judge Browning's swearing in. One of my favorite people.
Well, good morning, everybody. Aloha, and welcome to this month's meeting of the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission. We're here on the beautiful island of Hawaii. We were probably up before all of you. And here at the Hawaii Community College, ACC. We're just thankful that they're here and allow us to use their facilities to have our meeting. And once again, welcome. We're so proud to have that's stuff right here. We're saddened at this particular point in time to announce, and most of you may have known that Ted Sakai had passed away. And so, you know, as we move forward in our meeting, I'd like to take this time right now just to have a minute of quiet as we can reflect on Ted Sakai, our individual relationships with him, on our commission, all that he has done in his career in Hawaii and public safety. He was indeed an icon to many, at least the last 5 decades of work for the state of Hawaii, and he'd be sorely missed. We were saddened that he resigned from the commission, and we're saddened to hear of his passing. Indeed, he was an influential man, not just locally, but nationally as well. So we'll just take a short minute and honor his memory and his name and his work. Mahalo ke akua, mahalo ke akua, aloha ke akua. And Ted is now being reassigned to the Oversight Commission in the sky. And hopefully he'll give us guidance to our spiritual well-being. But in the same breath, we appreciate the governor as we move to the next item on our agenda, to introduce everyone here to the Honorable Mark Browning, Governor Green's appointment to the commission and the vacancy that was created when Ted resigned. We're so happy to have Judge Browning here, former judge, First Circuit Court, where he retired out of, and former family court, head of family court. We've known him a lot for the foundation of what we now call in Hawaii juvenile justice reform, and the success of creating those alternatives with his staff to incarceration for our youth that has made our entire juvenile system a national model. So we're very excited for him to be here, bring that knowledge of the juvenile system, his knowledge of First Circuit, so we can continue working on our reform efforts here at the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission. So we will do a visual, hey, thank you. Just around here, all of us here that he's here and that the commission is complete. But I'm gonna ask him to stand right now. You may in place. And hi, Candice, can we issue the swearing in?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I, R. Mark Browning, do solemnly swear
I, R. Mark Browning, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Hawaii,
and the Constitution of the State of Hawaii,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties
and I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a member of the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission,
as a member of the Hawaii Criminal Correctional
Correctional.
Oversight Correctional Commission,
Okay, let's do that again. As a member of the Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission.
Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission,
Okay, for the state of Hawaii to the best of my ability.
for the state of Hawaii to the best of my ability.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Wait, I want to. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
We're great to have him here. I hope that hesitation in the pledge, his uncertainty as if he was doing the right thing or not. We're glad to have you here, Judge. You know, this is where it begins and we have a lot to do. So it's good to be a full commission once again. On our roll call, Judge Ibarra is excused for this particular meeting. He's off out of the country, actually. Mike Town,
Here.
Martha Tornay,
Present.
Mark Browning,
Here.
and Mark Patterson here. So we have 4 of our 5 commissioners present at this time. I want to take a motion at this time, if we can, commissioners, to approve our February 15th, 2024 minutes.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and by Martha and seconded by Mark that we accept the February 15th, 2024 Hawaii Correctional System Oversight Commission minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say same. Motion passed. Thank you, George, for the minutes. Well done. And go on to the next item. Hello, everyone that has been able to join us here on Kauai from wherever you are. So we're going to start into our public testimonies on just the agenda items right now. And we'll move forward. Please keep your comments below 2 minutes. And if I see some hands or digital hands and anybody that wants to comment on our agenda. Hi, Carrie Ann, go ahead.
Aloha Commissioners, Carrie Ann Shibota on behalf of the ACL Hawaii. I would like to comment on the agenda item OCCC jail. And this is in tandem to yesterday's budget meeting. The ACLU of Hawaii is seriously concerned that our state is still planning to move forward with the jail when we have not implemented proven strategies to decrease the number of people in our jails and prisons. There have been a number of recommendations from the pretrial task force. We have not implemented bail reform. And yet, why are we even proposing to spend another $10 million that will benefit architects, all the people who will benefit from prison construction, but not our community? And so we're asking the commission to reconsider, your support for this project when proven alternatives exist, as has been exemplified in other states, as well as our youth system, where the community, with the leadership of Judge Browning and others, work together to decrease the number of youth by investing in trauma-informed care and data-driven strategies. And we just also like to note that currently the state is considering over $100 million in proposed capital improvement projects to expand the carceral footprint, when we know what really makes us safe and that we should be investing in things like housing, education, youth programs, reintegration programs, treatment, where we have waiting lists for people to get into treatment, but we have no waiting lists to get into our jails and prisons. And this last, our point is that we're deeply disappointed in UH Design Center, because from what we understand, there's been a lot of outreach to the community, and community members, a number of them have said, we don't agree with building a new jail, that we should invest in community-based diversion. And yet that has not been really presented to the community as a viable option. And under the EIS process, that is an option, is to provide and support alternatives. And that is being paid for by taxpayer dollars. And so at minimum, we call upon UH Design Center to be truthful to the community. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you, Carrie Ann. Any others? Seeing none, we're gonna go ahead and move forward on item number 6, public safety. Are you present?
We don't see Tommy Johnson on the board, which is unusual. You didn't tell me, I'll check that.
We'll move forward
And return to this later.
and we turn to it later should public safety arrive on the Zoom. Item number 7, legislative priorities.
So this has been a wildly busy month for the commission, and particularly in this past week, actually. So I wanted to talk about 2 budget hearings that took place to keep everybody updated, and then also an informational briefing that took place. So the 2 budget hearings that took place were in front of the House Committee on Finance, also known as FIN. And then also this week was the Senate Committee on Ways and Means, which is known as WAM. We're excited to report that FIN supported the commission's full request of $462,134. I think we were actually one of the few who made it through without cuts, which was really great to see. We don't know the results of WAM's decision yet. The hearing actually just took place yesterday for individuals to be able to testify on the budget. We did receive an immense amount of support from local agencies and community members. And so thank you all so much for submitting testimony. It really, really makes a difference when the legislature can see how our work impacts the individuals who testified. In addition, on Monday, we had an informational briefing that was all about the commission. We were able to present on our work, why our work matters, and why, frankly, we need to continue to exist. So that occurred on March 18th at 10 a.m. and that was presented to the House Committees on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs, known as JHA, and also Corrections, Military, and Veterans, known as CMV. So George, if you can put a link for the video of that, but our presentation is attached to the Oversight Coordinator report as well, so you can take a look. So other than that, at this point, I think we're finished with testimony, because at this point, we're getting into decision-making, which no testimony is accepted for that. So again, thank you all so much for showing the commission so much support and aloha. We really, really appreciate it.
So fellow commissioners, as a result, FIN heard our budget, they approved it, it went to the Senate. Senate approved it with amendments that they have yet to discuss.
They approved the budget total.
Total with amendments, and then next week, we believe, they will share what those amendments are. So that's kind of where we are at this point. We have a good feeling about what's going on. We did a lot in terms of talking to legislators, Kristen, and it continues to be our #1 priority to communicate the Oversight Commission, its work, what it's done, and what we hope to do to the legislative body at this time. And so that work continues as we continue with the legislative session. Really appreciate all the testimonies that we've been receiving in regards to our budget. It's been overwhelming and it's been very supportive. As we move on to our next item, we wanted to discuss and talk about if any of you have any questions regarding our responses to the recommendations of our 2023 visits to the facilities.
Yes, so our team has been working very, very hard to compile all of the recommendations that the commission has made to the different facilities. We have compiled a very large spreadsheet that encompasses the commission's recommendation, the date of the recommendation, which report that came from DCR's response to the recommendation, the date of that response, the applicable policy, which includes department policy, federal standards, also state law where applicable. And then also the commission's evaluation of the response. So whether the commission agrees that it's resolved, or if there's improvement, unresolved, or if there's a reassessment necessary, meaning that the commission would like to go back to the facility, speak to people in custody, speak to staff, and see where that issue stands. You can find that spreadsheet on our website on the reports, facility-specific reports page. Right now, it's listed as a PDF. We're trying to figure out how to make it an easier document to really go through and read. But right now, it's a PDF, so you can go on there and see. And right now, it's all of our jail-specific responses. We're still working on the prison-specific responses, which we're hoping to get up in the next month or two. So yeah, that is it for me, unless commissioners have any questions about the spreadsheet.
Commissioners, questions? Very happy with how the executive director put together this spreadsheet. As we go around and do these inspections, we make the recommendations, we check on the follow-up, we discuss it with public safety, we continue to follow up. And so here's a tracking record for all of us to assure that what we originally say is still being followed and still being completed, and provide the transparency, because if we're gonna say to the public, this is what we found, we need to also come back and tell you that this is what was done or not done, and just continue to follow up. Very happy with the transparency of our inspections and our recommendations, and of course, public safety responding when they learn of it, and they're doing a good job. Okay, let's move on to item number, no further questions for item 8. We'll move to the monthly oversight coordinator's report.
All right, George, can you put the report in the chat, please? So like I said, this has been a very busy month for the team and for the commissioners. I'd like to start off by reporting that there have been no deaths in custody since January 4th, as reported in the January Oversight Coordinator report. This is the longest length of time we've gone without a death since I started here. So that's always very exciting to see. So now I'm gonna skip over some of the things we already talked about and move to the Justice Innovation Summit. This was a conference that lasted from February 16th to the 19th, and Chair Patterson, Commissioner Torney, Commissioner Town, and also our Reentry and Diversion Oversight Specialist, Kara Campani, attended this event, which had over 300 participants and over 100 presenters. I was not able to attend this event, so would any of the commissioners who attended like to share?
It was a very good event, and it was from an international perspective that this conference was held. And there were too many workshops to choose from, which ones to go to. And it ended, the last day was at the Hawaiian school at the university. And that was led by John Osorio, and that was very, very moving that day on the effect of the criminal justice system in Hawaii and in other Polynesian communities on those communities. And it was a very moving event. I'm sorry, I don't have any notes because I didn't know I was gonna be answering.
No, that's okay.
I think it was a good job to bring such a huge, group of individuals from across the globe, to talk about restorative justice at the University of Hawaii. Hats off to, Lauren Walker and her staff and the people that helped her put this together. I sat in a workshop listening to restorative justice issues from people from, England, Egypt, Italy,
All continents
Norway,
except
Australia.
Antarctica were represented.
Yeah, everybody was there, and it was really interesting to see the commonalities of the discussions that we're having, and everyone taking notes to see how one country did it other than another country, et cetera, et cetera. So I think, hats off, not just to local and state individuals pushing for restorative justice, but national and international. Very, very good showing, and I think they got a good showing of Hawaii and our hospitality, and look forward to another conference. Give them a couple years to rest.
They spoke a lot about the successful programs that you can find internationally, so we have more things to build off of.
Very impressed.
And Lauren Walker was the catalyst for this, and we really want to express our appreciation to the work not only Lauren did for this conference, but what she dedicated herself to in the last 30 years in corrections.
Mark,
Yes, Mike.
I want to second what was said here. Lauren took the bit in her teeth. She is amazing, and people from around the world. Mark gave a great talk on the panel, and the portion on restorative therapeutic, what I call horizontal justice, was really interesting to learn from our colleagues around the world. Egypt, Italy, you name it. I appreciated hearing from the Chief Justice Yazi from the First Nations, and I'm glad that we were there. Thank you.
A lot of indigenous people as well were at the event from Aotearoa, the Maoris came, Native Americans came from across the board, Native Alaskans. So it was a good showing of the indigenous populations as well from across the world. There was workshops specifically for them and that I participated in, and the sharing of cultures as well. So, like I said, very well put together conference, and really showing what can be done if we can put our heads together and move forward in that restorative field.
Also, were former offenders that were there that participated in the workshops, and so that was informative. And some victims
Yes.
were also there sharing in the workshop. And one of the most interesting ones that I attended is that a woman who had been a victim of terrible partner abuse, she ended up becoming a counselor working with men who had been incarcerated for doing that. And it was just the relationship she had with these men who were also present. It was just incredible what she was able to build and how they had changed because they had her influence over them and what she shared with them and how she supported them. It's very good.
Great. Thank you all so much for sharing. I was really disappointed to have to miss that, but yeah, thank you so much for Lauren Walker for putting all of that on. Kara Campani and I also attended Reckoning with Restorative Justice. This was an event that was on the Big Island in Hilo. So we flew out for this, and it was a discussion with Professor Leanne Torpedo-Sims about her book, Reckoning with Restorative Justice, Hawaii's Women's Prison Writing. The book delved into experiences of women incarcerated at the Women's Community Correctional Center and their writing. And what was neat about this event is I believe that she did the majority of this project while Mark was the warden, because she spoke very highly of our chair. So it was a great event, and we really appreciate Ohana Hopakale for inviting us out. It was great to see all of you, and we appreciate you thinking of us. Additionally, Chair Patterson and Kara Campani and I attended the Breaking Cycle Symposium update. This was an update aimed to share outcomes from the original Breaking Cycles Symposium that had happened a few months back. It's a great event. The goal of it was to really focus on diversion efforts and ways to frankly keep people out of the system. So we really appreciated being able to sit and listen to different stakeholders at that event. The last event that I want to talk about, which I was so sad to miss, but luckily our amazing reentry and diversion oversight specialist, Kara Campani, was able to attend, was the Halava Resource Fair. This was a huge fair that impacted 300 to 400 individuals in custody who got to participate in this event. About 40 service providers actually came to Halava in their gym, I believe, to set up tables and express different resources for people who are either maxing out or coming up on their minimums. This was an event that was really completed by Halava and the leadership team there, and also the education specialists there. So we really appreciate everyone who put that together, and also for Director Johnson's support in putting this together. He made it very clear this will not be the only one moving forward, which was great to see. And Kara, I just wanted to give you the opportunity, if you wanted to add anything about it, if you could share.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. Aloha, everyone. So the two things I wanted to highlight about the resource fair is Kristen shared that between 300 and 400 people at Halava were eligible to attend. And to be eligible to attend, you either had to be within 1 year of release or parole. So that's almost half of Halava's population that we're talking about were eligible for attendance and therefore looking at release soon. And the other thing I wanted to highlight about the event was that what we're finding is there are service providers that want to provide services, and there are people in custody who need the services, and we're looking for more links. And this resource fair served as one of those links. The people in custody were so grateful to see the support, and then vice versa, the service providers were thrilled to be able to go there and connect with people prior to release. So it's a great event, and I'm looking forward to many more.
Thank you so much, Kara. I appreciate you adding that in. The last piece that I would like to cover, actually second to last, is the correction staff survey and report. As most of you know, this has been a very large project. We have been working on this for months and months and months, but now it feels like the project is really moving forward. And so for those of you who aren't aware, we found a survey that the Urban Institute's Prison Research and Innovation Initiative had put together using 5 different states who developed it. It's very encompassing. It's over 100 questions long. And we decided to take the survey and go to every facility, post to post, multiple days, and pass it out to staff. We've received a fantastic turnout of responses. I believe we received around 800 responses from staff, which is it's huge throughout the facilities. So now we have the results of those responses. And so what Chair Patterson and I have been doing at this point is going back into the facilities to host talk stories with the staff, to really talk about the results, to one, see if staff are in agreement that these results hit home for them, and two, to figure out what the recommendations are, because we want to make sure that any recommendation we put in this report are coming from the people who are actually on the ground doing the job. And so staff have been so appreciative of us coming in and really hearing them and doing our best to listen and take down so many notes. We appreciate them being so open and honest with us. I also wanted to thank the wardens for, this is a very destructive process, clearly, and the wardens have been amazingly supportive and having us come in and having a space for us to have these large groups of staff coming in. We were at Halava from 5:30 in the morning until 6 p.m. on our first talk story day. And I'd also like to thank, Tommy Johnson and his team, because they have also been extremely supportive of this project. It would have been very easy for them to make it very difficult for us to reach staff, but they want to hear the results too. And so the report is still scheduled to come out before May. It is a very fast turnaround, but we're excited about what we're learning, what we're hearing. And so we'll keep you all posted as we continue forward with these talk stories. And we have the schedule of everything in the Oversight Coordinator report, in case you're curious, when we're going to each facility. And then lastly, just the.
Before you move on,
Yes.
it's important for you folks to understand when she talks about the report, it's just not the overall outcomes of the survey, but a lot of the notes that we are taking in these talk stories. Yeah, we know what the survey says. Now we want to get personal stories, and a lot of solutions are coming out of the staff yesterday. And how about, because we asked specifically, if that's what you're complaining, what's the solution? And so they gave everything from how to bring people back from sick, workers' comp. I mean, we had a lot of good answers coming out of the staff, and yeah, I think they felt comfortable that they could speak their mind. Yeah, and so they were speaking their mind very clearly, from case managers to the medical records people to the mental health, social workers, cooks, ACOs, sergeants, the lieutenants, the captains, even the administrative staff came and talked. So that was over close to 100 employees we spoke with yesterday. We will be in Kulani tomorrow and back on Kauai on Monday to talk to those two staff. So I'm very excited to hear what every facility has to say. And so when we get that report, it will include the solutions that the staff are coming up with. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're very grateful for the staff for their very open and honest opinions and feedback. It was funny because when we first started, we would ask them, what are the solutions? And their initial response was, will you tell us? And we're like, no, like, you're the ones who know, what needs to happen. We just need to hear it. And so, they opened right up, and we really, really appreciate staff taking that time with us. So the last topic in the Oversight Coordinator report is, thank you, is just the House Concurrent Resolution 23 Task Force. We had our most recent meeting this month,
Yes.
a couple weeks ago. It's not a crazy
Last
month.
week.
Yeah, last week. Thank you. Sorry, it's been a lot. So this was a really interesting task force meeting, and if you didn't have the opportunity to watch it live, I'd really encourage you to go back and watch the recording. We had an opportunity where the parole board had conducted mock parole hearings. They did 3 different mock parole hearings specifically for setting people's minimum terms of confinement. Our own Commissioner Town actually came in as a mock parole board member, and so that was exciting to see him, which really felt like a natural element for him since he served 8 years on the parole board previously. But it was a very interesting experience. We got to go through the paperwork that the parole board sees. We got to hear kind of what their thought processes as they go through. So if you didn't have the opportunity to watch that, I highly encourage it. The second part of the meeting was Dr. Erin Harbinson from the Criminal Justice Research Institute presented briefly on her plans for polling research. And so she kind of outlines what they're working on now and also some of the limitations they're going to have. One of their biggest challenges is that they're going through parole board data, but the only way to go through that is through case files. So her entire team has been at the parole board office, going through file after file after file and putting information into a spreadsheet to get a better understanding of what the, kind of the systemic analysis is. And so not necessarily case by case, but trying to look at many, many cases together. So that will take some time, but we're really appreciative of her team and also the Council of State Governments who are helping her team complete this project. And Mike, I just want to give you the opportunity if you wanted to add to anything I just shared.
Sure. It was well attended in the state office tower. Fred put it together. Fred Hune, he's excellent. All of the appointed elected prosecutors from the different counties came. And as we all know, a prosecutor is a minister of justice and a quasi-judicial officer. They're not there just to get a conviction. They have to screen the evidence, check out the charging, make sure that the judges are doing the right thing along the way. And there's just, I was so impressed hearing from them again. And the parole board is a quasi-judicial group. A lot of people initially didn't know that when I joined. It's not just the community reflecting it, they're quasi-judicial. And Gene DeMello was there, Fred Hune, myself, and there was thorough discussion. Kristen, the gentleman Carl from the National Center, what is it called? National what?
State governments.
Yeah, we set up a Zoom next Monday to talk a little bit. He's excellent, and while I've been told over the years we're the only parole board in the nation, there may be 4 or 5 others that have some kind of other functions that are other than pure release. I really want to emphasize that. Setting minimums has to be done correctly. And also, for me, one of the big issues is the reduction of minimums. Is there due process? So this bears a huge amount of discussion and inquiry and best practices. I'm glad to take questions if there are any.
No, I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much for adding that. And I was really glad that you were at the meeting because, you know, you kind of have the unique viewpoint of being a judge and being a previous parole board member. So it was great to have you there. I really appreciate you taking that time. Other than that, that is the Oversight Coordinator report, and I'm happy to take any questions from commissioners. All right.
When are we expected to have that report to the legislature?
The
October,
task force report?
it's due October.
Yeah, so the timeline is coming up fast. The legislation is due in August, I believe. So if there's any legislation that the task force wants to put together to change the law, obviously, that is due in August. And then the final report, which would also include that legislation, is due in October to ensure that it's out before the legislative session.
Kristen,
Yeah.
the parole commission, you can 8 years, 2 terms of 4, 8 years. There's going to be turnover, and I think one thing I'm real interested in, I don't know how best to do it, is to develop good candidates that want to do that job. That'll be quasi-judicial, that understand, and they don't have to be retired judges, obviously, but they got to be super fair people like Fred and Gene that understand this. So that's a big deal, the turnover and the capacity.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, thank you, Mike. We'll probably put something in that nature. Hopefully, we can have a decision on it from the task force on recommendations of how that looks like in terms of selection of parole board members. So June 6th will be the next meeting of the ATR 23 task force. And hopefully coming out of that, we may have the beginnings of recommendations, you know, and so we'll report out as we move forward with our work with the Council of State Governments and the members of the task force. So thank you, Kristen, for reporting on that. That was actually item 10 on our agenda. No other questions on the ACR 23 task force. We're looking at item 11 on the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, we can have any public comment on the agenda and any other issues that you folks may have or we want to bring up and bring to our attention. Again, please keep it under 2 minutes, and I'm open to hands or digital hands at this time.
This is gonna be our shortest meeting ever.
This slowly getting shorter and shorter.
Well, hearing none, I want to thank everyone for coming. Our next meeting will be Thursday, April 18th at 9 o'clock, and we will be on the island of Hawaii. So we'll be in Hilo for that meeting. Please check our website for any updates and information. Our website is growing. Yeah. You know, well, me, Martha, and Mike, we're going on almost 5 years. On the commission. Yeah, and we're closing in at almost 20 months, almost 2 years, shy about 6 months of having staff. And I just want to say to the commissioners, we're really moving now. Okay, there's a lot of things going, the work that Carol's doing and Kristen and everything that George does. We're really moving fast. So I'm gonna ask each of the commissioners to get with Kristen and really have some conversations with her on how we can be of assistance in how we can assist her from your background, your experience, so that you know, we all feel that we're part of everything that's moving fast. Because we can be moving so fast that we're losing track of what's going on. Yeah. And that's pros and that's cons. I mean, pros and cons to that, but you know, we're gonna have to learn how to move because we know how it was when we didn't have stuff. Yeah.
Mark, can I jump in a little bit?
Yes, Mike.
Just two things from my vantage point up here in the nosebleed section of Kaimaki. Number one, personally, professionally, I want to welcome Judge Browning. He knows that I've told him, but he has fresh eyes. My eyes are kind of fresh, but not like his. And we need these different makavalu, points of view. The second thing is, it would be helpful, I think, to put this recent federal decision putting FCI Dublin in California under a master receivership. I don't want that for Hawaii. And I think the director understands that. So the more we can gather that information so we can solve our own problems in our own backyard using our local people. But to do that, they need oversight and the ability of everybody in the system to be coached and coach up and collaborate, not collaborate. So any problem putting that FCI Dublin on our website at some point, Kristen or George?
No, we can put it up. We'll probably put it under our other.
Yep.
Okay. On our reports page, there's a drop down for other, so it's kind of random report, but yeah, we'll put it up, Mike.
Okay, because the federal judge had a lot to say. I don't want that to happen in Hawaii, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think we have a more but that's Bureau of Prison. It's not a state prison. It's and that was kind of surprising to me. I don't know enough about the feds, and we do have an FCI here. Anyway, thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mike. So on your own time, get a hold of Kristen and have those discussions with her so that we can assure that we're providing our expertise in the areas that we're moving towards. So with no further comment, I call this meeting to adjourn. And thank you everyone for joining us and being here. Mahalo.